Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Smash the like button right now. I want you to leave your comments below if you're watching the playback of this video. Make sure you turn the bell notifications on. Also, lots to delve into today. Lots of stories starting to do the rounds. And I've got a few takes for you. I've got a few big takes for you today on some things I want to see my football club do. Some stories that are circulating regarding Liverpool. Of course, there's the reaction to the England squad, which we'll touch on in a lot more detail on the Top 6 show tonight at 6 p.m. So 6 p.m. UK time. Make sure you're back watching the Football Terrace. It's going to be a great, great show tonight as we build up for the last weekend of Premier League football before the international break. Morning. Of course, smash the like button, my friend. Exactly. I know you've been sitting here 20 minutes waiting. I apologize, but I had to jump onto a call. And I just got a little bit held up. And I thought I had changed the start time, but I'm here now. My source, trust me, bro, he's reliable. Oh, DJ, you're doing that again on an opinion piece. You weirdo. But morning, everybody. I'm glad you're all doing well. Let me know where you're watching from around the world also. I'd like to know where you're watching from, what you're up to, what you're doing. Big up Tim B. I hope you're good, my friend. Another 100 million means no signings next summer. Well, look, let's just delve in. Let's start with this big story today. So there is a story circulating that Manchester United will reportedly back Ten Hag with a January budget of £100 million to continue improving the squad. Now, this story's come around. This has been put out by Ryan Taylor, as you can see here. Plus, a number of news outlets are now running with this story. They say that Man United boss Erik ten Hag is reportedly set to be handed a £100 million spend in January. But you've got to remember that the caveat here, but only if Cristiano Ronaldo leaves the football club. Of course, around 20 million to 25 million pound per year is what Ronaldo is being paid. Wages are sometimes a bigger hemorrhage of cash for football clubs than the actual transfer fee at times with the way it kind of works. It says here the Dutchman would have around 70 million available to further reinforce his side this winter. But should the one-away Portuguese legend force his move, which he seems eager to, Ten Hag could be handed a further £30 million. So there is said to be around 70 million that the club are going to give Ten Hag to reinforce the side with. Again, it could rise up to £100 million if Ronaldo moves on. And I think Ronaldo moving on is something which I believe can still happen. I truly believe, genuinely, that Ronaldo still might leave. And people may ask, why do I believe this? The way Ten Hag is kind of talking, it's like towing the party line. It's keeping it professional. Ronaldo's getting there. We're getting close with Ronaldo. I'm picking a player for the betterment of the team, not to appease the fans. All these words from Ten Hag for me are quite simply a manager being very, very, very professional. Is a manager behaving exactly how I want him to, so I like it. I don't think he wants Ronaldo in his team. I don't think he wants Ronaldo in the squad. I don't think he wants Ronaldo at the club. But publicly, he will continue to state his support of this idea. And that is the right way to behave with decorum and professionalism. And you don't want to rock the apple cart too much. I think there's a good chance Ronaldo leaves in January. I really do. If the right kind of offer comes in, if a club, there will be clubs across Europe thinking, right, we've got to the knockout stage of the Champions League, or we're struggling for goals. What do we do? Who can we turn to? Ronaldo's agent is 110% going to be trying to push him out the door. And Man United are going to look to spend that money. And if there is £100 million for Man United to spend, who do you go out and buy? That's the big question. So hence the title of the show today. For me, I'm saying Toney in, Cristiano Ronaldo out. Now, I know a lot of people out there don't rate Ivan Toney, and I think they're mad not to. This guy has got an excellent touch. He's got good vision. He can play off the shoulder. He can hold the ball up. So he can be a target man, and he can also play off the shoulder against high lines. We've seen him do this. I'm not saying he's the fastest man in the world, but he's not exactly a slouch. It's not like he's running through treacle wearing concrete boots. Statistically speaking, Toney is a player like this season, 5 Premier League goals in 6 games, plus 2 assists. An assist in the EFL Cup as well. So that is 8 goal contributions in 7 matches so far playing for Brentford. Of course, he had a very good debut season in the Premier League, which we all saw. And this is a player, who again isn't young either. He's 26 years of age. So he's still got 4, 5, 6 years left at the highest level, of course, pending injury. But this is an individual that is experienced enough at multiple levels, is a fully grown man, is ready to move on to that next stage. He's not an 18-year-old gamble for me. He is someone that is Premier League proven. He is someone that is proven at the highest level of the game. He's just had his England call up, and rightfully so. And I believe there's a genuine player in there. Is he ever going to be, when you read it on paper, Toney for Ronaldo? Oh, that's a terrible, what a downgrade. But it's not a downgrade in 2022, because I think Toney will have a lot more to his game than a 37-year-old Ronaldo. 37-year-old Ronaldo is still probably a better finisher than Toney, probably. But he doesn't have the physicality. He doesn't have, I've just said that Toney's not young, but he's young and youthful in comparison to a 37 turning 38-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. The upside of signing someone like Toney is massive. And I also believe Ivan Toney is chomping at the bit to get an opportunity at a club the size of Manchester United. Brentford, of course, have been brilliant for him. He's done a fantastic job there. He's comfortable. He's loved by the fans. He's loved by the owners. He's loved by the manager. But he will have ambitions beyond Brentford, and he has to strike while the iron is hot. The only issue you now have is what is the cost going to be? I think he's probably worth somewhere between 30 and 35 million pounds. But in a January window, you're probably going to have to pay somewhere in the region of 50 million, especially if he's then in the England squad, especially if he's just gone to the World Cup. Who knows? He might get this call up, not perform very well, and that's it. But if he performs well for England in this international break, if he then gets a call up to the World Cup and does some bits and keeps scoring in the Premier League as well, this player is going to cost you 50 odd million pounds, maybe even 60 million pounds. But I would be willing to spend it. I think there is a genuinely top quality player in there, a top quality player, not a world-class player, not a Haaland, not a Harry Kane, but a top quality player. And unless there is a what's the word I'm looking for here? Unless there is a world-class centre forward of that ilk available, I think this would be a very good signing for Man United, and also a signing where, if, for instance, Benjamin Šeško continues to improve over the next 2 or 3 years and his levels above Toney, you can still go and buy him. Like, signing Toney doesn't mean you can't buy any other strikers at any other time. And I like the idea of a player like this coming into Manchester United. I really, really do. Spurs Talk Show here says inflation in the market was bonkers by the end of the window. Yeah, and it's only going to keep inflating because more money keeps being pumped into the game. And the more sponsors that get involved, the more TV stations around the world, the more countries that buy rights to the Premier League. And as these rights typically keep getting sold for more and more money, the inflation will go up. I mean, you can't, some people try and judge football's inflation based on the inflation and the growth of the economy, like the economy at large. It isn't. It's its own little world in that regard. And if suddenly there was an extra, if the value of football grew by another 200% in the next 2 years, transfer fees would almost echo that. Players that are suddenly going for 30 million might start going for 70, 80, 90 million if billions of pounds more were pumped into the Premier League, which is likely to happen. So people have got to ignore the actual price. And what they have to do is look at the inflation of an injection of money into the game and then just work it out. You suddenly look back and go, well, paying 120 million pounds for a really good young attacking player now, when you actually look at the inflation, is exactly what you were paying for Wayne Rooney's in 2004. It sounds a lot more now because there's more money in the game, but pound for pound, you're spending the same amount of money. You're still spending about the same percentage of the income of football on players. It is what it is. The only time I think it's wrong is when loads of that money gets taken out of the game by agents, because you're actually taking the money out of football. But they've now capped that as well, so it won't be as bad. Toney is championship level player. Well, he isn't a championship level player, is he? Because he's delivering in the Premier League. You don't have to rate him, but to say he's a championship player is false. It's a fact. He's not just a championship player because he's delivering in the Premier League. How can you be a championship player and deliver in the Premier League? You've done yourself there, Terence Tibbs. Big time, my friend. Remember United's first Europa League game? Don't know about that. He's better than Ivan Toney. sorry, I don't know about that he's better than Ivan Toney's finishing. Remember, it's 2022, as you said. Yeah, look, you can agree to disagree. I still think, look, if you would say to me now, running through one-on-one on goal right now, Ronaldo or Toney, I'd still pick Ronaldo to score the goal for me. But there is more to a player than just their finishing. And the problem is for Ronaldo is I don't think he can get into the goal scoring positions as easily now because his body is I wouldn't say failing him, he's just getting old. So is he going to be in those positions as readily? Can he press from the front consistently for 90 minutes, 2 games a week for the next 3, 4, 5 years? He can't. And I think that's why Man United would look to go beyond him at some point in the future. I think Toney will cost more than that, Terry, with the inflation market and his contract. You are looking at 70 to 80 million. He may do if he maintains a position within the England squad, but his current valuation is somewhere in the region around 30, 35 million pounds with a lot of the financial sort of experts. He does have, as we say, but at the end of the season, he'll have 2 years remaining on his contract. So that also becomes a problem because if he knows that these big clubs are in for him, he is not going to renew a deal. He isn't going to renew a deal. And it goes into the final 2 years of his contract. Once you get into the final 2 years of your deal, the valuation of a player starts to diminish very, very quickly. Of course, if he's in the England team, that's going to boost his price. There's always that because he becomes far more marketable, far more commercial, and you have to pay for that privilege. I think 50 to 60 million pound gets him for you, but I'd love to know what you all think he would cost and or what you think he's worth. I'd love your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Terry, I agree. Toney is a great player. However, I do think he's similar to Grealish in the sense that he has to be the best in the side. Would be interesting to see him at a club like United. Well, I think, Fred, you make a really good point there from the perspective of, I was talking about, I'm going to get onto Haaland a little bit later in the show, but there's a disrespect sometimes to players that are delivering in high pressured situations. What we don't know about Toney is how he delivers for a team where where the only thing that stops you from being, in fact, let me rephrase that. We don't know how Toney performs in a high pressured situation. The pressure of playing for Brentford is not the same as the pressure of playing for Man United, playing for Liverpool, playing for Man City. They're playing for Arsenal. There is a fundamental difference between playing for those clubs. So we don't know that. That's one of the unanswered questions about him. But there's part of me that would be excited to see how he does. So I totally get your point there, my friend. Toney scored 5 goals in the league. He isn't a championship player. Yeah, calling him a championship player is just terrible banter. It's the worst banter I've heard in a long, long time. It's kind of like your girlfriend's going to break up with you level banter. Like she's looking at you like, bro, why did you say that? that is what I'm saying. 50 million for Toney is fair, is what Mish says. Worth 40 million, but will cost 65 plus, is what Spurs Talk Show believes here. Josh says, Toney is a solid signing. I would also get the right wing back, Gasto from Lyon. However, I would be concerned about spending 100 million in January, would take the sting out of the Glazers out. I agree that it could take the sting out the Glazers out completely. But I'd rather us spend money on players and buy players to make this squad better than not. But it doesn't stop me from being Glazers out. However, like I've always said about the Glazers out, and I'll stand by this, if we can't get rid of them, at least put continual pressure on them to run the club properly. And if we're running the club properly, we can still yield success. We have to remember between 2005 and 2013 was one of the most successful periods in the club's history. And that's because David Gill and Fergie were running it and the Glazers didn't have their mitts over it. So there is a way of still winning with them being here and then running the club better. Doesn't mean you've got to like them. Doesn't mean you'll support them. Doesn't mean you'll forgive them for the past. But there can be a compromise. As a union person myself, compromises can be met. But I totally get your thoughts. I actually started your comment from earlier, actually saying great news for the squad, but I feel it would take the sting out of. I was going to come back to that a little bit later, but I saw you put a very similar comment up as well. And I do agree. And of course, rivals will say, oh, how can you be Glazers out when they're spending money? It's boring now. Again, that's just something I don't engage with anymore because I've explained my stance on that multiple times. I love how United fans are flip-flopping on Toney now. Oh, yeah. I mean, some people are going to flip-flop on him. Some people are going to change their mind. I mean, changing your mind because you now think a player's good is fair. But but there we go. Call up for England put in place as well. What do you all think? What do you all feel? I want your take on this. Now, I did want to speak very quickly as well about transfer news. There's a story that was put out about Klopp not it being fed up around with Artur Melo already, and does not believe he's at the required level. I'm having a lot of people tell me that this is fake news. I mean, the person that shared the news is obviously a verified individual. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this news has been put out there. I mean, I'm not really bothered either way, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was true. I mean, Liverpool fans will say it's fake news. Liverpool journalists will say it's absolutely not true. But Liverpool have done this before with panic buys. Liverpool in the past have gone out of their way. They've bought players. You know, Kabak is an example. Is it Ben Davis as well? They bought these players that just weren't good enough and or did not play for their football club, and were all surprised. Now, of course, Liverpool fans will say that this isn't true. It's big fake news. But look, I mean, I think Guillaume Balaguer has said that Liverpool have no intention of terminating his contract in January. But this is what I find really interesting about news like this. I don't care if a more prominent journalist says, no, it's not true, it's not going to happen. I mean, Guillaume Balaguer is an interesting one. Most people don't trust the thing Guillaume Balaguer says. But they will trust Guillaume Balaguer when he's putting out a story that makes their club look better. I'm just going to say this. I'm yet to be convinced that Klopp and Liverpool really wanted Artur Melo. I think they panicked when they realized their midfield wasn't good enough. When the world was like, oh my God, like the aging of Henderson and Milner over the course of the summer, the regression over the summer was so much bigger than anybody anticipated, I think. Even people that said it wasn't good enough probably didn't expect it to be this bad. They've panic bought. There's, of course, the talk that they put in £100 million bid for, I want to say it was for Valverde. Again, the Liverpool press will say, no, that isn't true. What I love about Liverpool fans is, though, that all summer that same press told you that there's no issue with Liverpool's midfield. Liverpool don't need anybody. Liverpool are comfortable. They're happy. And then suddenly, oh my God, we're all they all kind of bullshitted a little bit, didn't they? So I would say to Liverpool fans, think outside the box here. It may not be 100% true, but when there was journalists saying that Liverpool are desperately looking for a midfielder, a week before Liverpool admitted they were looking for a midfielder, Liverpool fans said that was a lie based on what certain sort of quote unquote tier one journalists were saying. So for me, I never believe any story 100%. There's always an air of trepidation, always an air of, let's keep an eye on this one. But I'm also not going to disregard it as well. Like Liverpool fans are definitely worried about the signing of Artur Melo. And of course, the Liverpool coaching staff will be assessing him. They'll be trying to probably get him up to speed and fitness to be ready to play for them. And because of the cancellation of football in the last couple of weeks and the postponements, we haven't really seen the rotations of squads as we thought we would as games went to 2 per week. So we're going to have to wait until after the international break to see how much he plays. But with Thiago getting his fitness back, I don't know how much game time this guy's going to get. He might end up being a backup to the backup players, in my opinion. But that is just me. That's just me. Let's go to some more of your comments coming through here. Liverpool got catfished by Artur Melo. Sarim here says we went to Juve for Zakaria and got Melo. This is defo a panic buy. I mean, Sarim's a big Liverpool fan and a member of the Football Terrace, and he knows as much as as well as I do. Like that, just believe towing. Again, I'm one of these people that's just like, I think Liverpool fans can be their own worst enemy sometimes, in the sense of they hear things negative about their club and they look for all the stories that debunk it. And then when that turns out to be true, there's no like, oh shit, yeah. Like, what did the tier ones tell you all summer? Liverpool and Klopp are completely happy with that midfield. Turns out they weren't, were they? Like, why would you just buy the news? Like, without challenging it? Like, come on, get out of communist Merseyside and join the real world, my friends. The truth will come out next month. If Klopp uses him, then this news would won't. Yeah, if Klopp doesn't use him regularly, then you know it's true. Then to a degree, you know it's true. Maybe they make a decision. They decide not to cancel it in January. They keep him as a backup. So people say, that news was wrong. And that news isn't true. But when you actually read it again, let's just make sure what it says here. Liverpool already looking for ways to cut the loan deal. It doesn't say they're 100% going to do it. They're just looking at an opportunity. Can we maybe get rid of him? So it's a claim, but we'll see. We'll see what happens come January. But it definitely feels a big panic to me, especially with this news coming out. It really, really does. So Klopp himself bought Melo and now already admits his mistake. That he's just flop, even signing players, is what Wolves has got to say here. So what were you saying about Sol last year? Was that a panic buy? It was, but again, my view was I like Saul Niguez. I think Saul Niguez I like Saul Niguez as a player. I thought he would do better in the Premier League than he did, and he didn't. And that's an opinion on how good a player is. Of course, there was a panic element to Chelsea getting him because it was last minute and it was a player they were barely linked to all year. But I thought he would do well because I rate him as a player, and he didn't. I mean, that's just an opinion thing. I don't think Melo is a bad football player. I don't think Liverpool really wanted him. I don't think he's a Liverpool. I don't think he's someone that Moneyball has been scouting and going after for a long time, my friend. So yeah, I don't really get your point. And just because I've got opinions wrong in the past doesn't mean I can't have an opinion now. Based on that, if I blocked all of you when you write something and it turned out not to happen, we'd have no one watching the fucking shows. It's just crazy. Like getting things wrong or having an opinion that doesn't pan out, the focus on that by people online is so weird to me. It's so weird to me. It's like cancel culture and overdrive. But there we go. What did Liverpool fans expect? They signed a guy that couldn't get into the team over Rabiot. Klopp is cracking up. To be honest, he doesn't know what's going on. Talking about revenge. Okay, I can't read that word, but yeah. Okay, thank you. Klopp was content with the midfield. It's just we got a wave of injuries. The problem with this, my friend, the problem even with that notion is you've got a number of players that are at the twilight age of the time of their career. You've got a number of injury-prone players to act like there was Thiago getting injured is more likely than him not being injured. Milner and Henderson not being quick enough anymore is more likely than them being quick enough. Like the more likely outcomes need to be addressed ahead of time. It's crazy to me. It's crazy that gets ignored so much. But maybe that's just my take on it. Maybe that's just my take on this in relation to the news. Elsewhere, Thomas Partey returning for Arsenal this weekend. That's a big bit of news, I think, for Arsenal. Or he's back in full. I heard that he was back in full training a few days ago. I think that's massive for them. It really, really is massive for them. There's no doubt about it at all. Yeah, I think it's huge for them. So sometimes I get into reading some of your comments. Some of your comments, I swear to swear, but are so fucking weird. Some of you are proper fucking weird. I don't even understand what half of you say. Like, it makes no sense. Like, some of the stuff is just mad. I don't even understand it. Like, I would say like 50% of you for a whole show are not even talking about the subjects. It's random. It's just a weird chat room. But anyway, and I get distracted because it's actually quite funny. But sometimes what are you speaking about? It's crazy. But yes, Thomas Partey returning for Arsenal Football Club. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see Arsenal this weekend. It is, because I feel like Arsenal have suffered so much disrespect over the course of the past, like over the beginning of the season, really. There's been a lot of disrespect. There's been a lot of people doubting them. There's been a lot of people kind of calling them a flash in the pan. They then lose to Man United, and then there haven't been games. You know, we missed that weekend's worth of football. They didn't play midweek, and it's kind of been this big lull. You've even seen this lull in the sense of, I go onto like some of the big Arsenal aggregators and I haven't tweeted for 2 or 3 days. Like, that's how like sparse the news has been. But I think Thomas Partey returning is going to be absolutely massive for Arsenal this weekend. I can't see them losing to Brentford. I believe that they'll win. I believe that they'll maintain top position in the league table for the international break. And I know Partey's probably going to get injured again at some point this season because he does have those issues. But I think it's massive for Arsenal, and I think that they're going to return back to their ways. I want to know how you guys think Arsenal are going to get on this weekend. I'd love to get your take, your thoughts, and your views on that. Want your thoughts and your views on that, my people, in relation to Thomas Partey returning for Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal fans very, very excited about the prospect of him returning, without a doubt. But there we go. Partey is very important. Without Partey, Arsenal is a different team. Yeah, I agree. Because when he's on point, when he's on form, when he's playing well, he's one of the best midfielders in the world. So, of course, you're going to miss him when he's out of your team. There's no doubt about it. Toney is going to touch him, is what's said there. Partey is injury prone too. They were neglecting not buying another player, but Arteta seems frustrated, like he wanted one. Well, they did want one. They tried to sign multiple midfielders this window, and it didn't, especially towards the end, or they inquired about a number. So yeah, of course they're frustrated. They left it too late with Douglas Luiz. So of course, Mikel Arteta is going to be frustrated. He won't admit that. He won't say it out loud. He won't slag the club off. He'll be professional. But of course, he's frustrated, and he should be frustrated. He absolutely. If Arteta isn't frustrated, then he's a joker. Of course, he's frustrated. There's no doubt. Terry, I'm sat here waiting for my pizza to cook. Well done, Dino. I hope it's a night. What kind of pizza are you having? I'm interested to know. Toney is a brilliant player that would be brilliant signing for United. I hope it doesn't happen, is what Alistair Ben has got to say. Geef here says, why are we not going for the best? Have we really settled for less? Ivan Toney, really? City gets Haaland and shifts the gameplay to get the best out of him, and we go for Toney. Well, we haven't gone for Toney. This is purely an opinion piece. So please watch and listen to the content. There is no direct link to Toney, but for Man United, I think we should buy him. Now, you're saying we should go for the best. I would love you to tell me who that is. That's attainable. So we're not going to get Harry Kane. We're not going to get Lewandowski. What are the striker, like number 9s in the world, are levels above him? You could say, I mean, I've watched Victor Osimhen play. I don't think he's levels above Toney. Who else is out there that is attainable for Man United, who's legitimately better than him? Like clear of him, who we could sign. I know Haaland's better. We're not getting him. So who out there is clear of Toney and available? Again, don't put Lewandowski in. I've just said, don't put Mbappe's name in, that Man United could actually sign. So I need, no, not Benzema. Sorry to be rude. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, that Man United could actually sign. Actually sign. Liao. Is Liao 100% clear of him? I don't think so. Talented, but he ain't clear of him, in my opinion. Osimhen is not clear of him. He's not clear of him. He isn't, in my opinion. Dombele from Lyon, don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. Vlahovic, again, I'm going to say this now. I don't think Vlahovic is, again, light years ahead of Ivan Toney. I don't personally think that myself. João Felix. João Felix is a good shout. Not an out-and-out number 9, but that is a good shout. There we go. But we tried to get him in January. They told us no. And also, that's going to cost about 150 million pounds. So that's actually fair, right? That's fair because you're paying more than double the cost of Toney. So that makes a lot of sense. That's a very good shout. What we're looking at here, Peter Crouch. Yeah, that's about right. Who else we saying here? Arnautovic. Yep. Bit of banter. Eddie and Nketiah. Bit of dead banter. Who are we saying here? Out and out better. Out and out better. I'm not seeing any names. And no one's put a name in it. Griezmann. This is not 2016, my friend. This is not 2016. David. David, again, listen to my question again, my people. I respect you all, but listen to my question again. Out and out clear of Toney. Not, he's worth a gamble. All the names you're giving me are players that are also slight gambles. And Nkunku's not a number 9, though, is he? So, again, try again. Out and out, number 9, clear of Toney, who is attainable. Give me the names of these players that are better, that are doing it in one of the biggest leagues in the world consistently. I don't know. I think Toney, I would go with Toney. I would go with Toney. Vardy there, cool. Šeško, I don't think Benjamin Šeško is better than Ivan Toney. I don't think he's better than him. I really don't. This is a good shout. Lisandro Martinez. Now, Lisandro Martinez would be a good option, but what are we looking at there? 100 million, 110 million after his new deal. So is he worth double Toney? Don't know. I don't think he'd score as many goals in the Premier League as Toney, but that's actually a good shout. Vlahovic is unattainable right now. Vlahovic is completely unattainable. Only just gone to Juve. They're not going to get rid of him. Mitrovic. Listen, Mitrovic is having a good season, to be fair. Like, do you know what Mitrovic would, I would like, do you know what I'd like Mitrovic to be for a team like Man United? Plan B from the bench. Someone like him, he's decent with his feet, good in the air, imposing figure. That's kind of like, I love a player like him. And a few people say things like United should only aim for the best. When Man United went and signed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer instead of Alan Shearer in 1996, people would have complained about that, but look what he went on to do. When Man United signed Teddy Sheringham to replace Eric Cantona, Teddy Sheringham wasn't regarded as one of the best strikers in the world. By the way, I love Teddy Sheringham. He's fucking amazing. But it was like, oh, can't we get better? Look at the career he then went and had at Manchester United. We signed. You don't always have to sign like the star player that's got a brilliant FIFA card, who's got look, he's got a brilliant Instagram account. I love this guy. He's popular. There's more to it. And I think Toney would be a very good signing for Man United. I really, really do. But so far, we've had Lisandro Martinez, which is decent, and Lautaro Martinez, sorry. And we've also had João Felix. Cool. Toney isn't a superstar, but he won't let you down, is what Tim B says. Yeah, I mean, he's not a superstar, but again, yeah, he wouldn't let you down, but I think he's a good player. But I do think he's a decent top level football player, or a very good top level football player. Let's see how he does for England. Terry, don't be naive. Vlahovic is miles ahead of Toney. No disrespect to Toney. Cool. I don't know how clear he is, but is he attainable? He's just signed for Juventus. Are Juventus going to let him go for a sensible fee? No. So go back to what sometimes football fans have got to, like, some of you got to listen harder. I'm trying not to be rude. Who is better and clear and attainable? Who is going to sell for a price within their valuation? So Vlahovic right now, to get out of Juve, you're probably going to have to spend 150, 160 million. And that's too much. You're not going to get a return of investment on that from him. Because to spend that much money on a striker, you're going to need Mbappe, Messi, Haaland numbers. And I don't think Vlahovic does that. So I actually think if you spend 150 million pounds on Vlahovic and you spent 50 million on Toney, I honestly believe they'd get similar amounts of goals for you and have a similar level of impact. So Vlahovic is better, but I don't think he's so far clear that he elevates Man United to a level that Toney couldn't help us get to, especially for the amount of money you would cost. I'd rather Toney and then and then spend the remaining 100 million that you'd spend for Vlahovic on a world-class midfielder. That would move the needle far more for Man United, in my opinion, James Bond. Yes, Shearer did reject United. Biggest mistake of his life. Ollie Watkins. Now, listen, Ollie Watkins is not as good as Toney. But there we go. Patrick Schick. I mean, Patrick Schick. Is it Schick or Sick? He's a good shout. But again, do I think he is clear of Toney? No, I don't think he's clear of him personally. And clear of him is what I'm saying here, like undebatably better. If you offer Juve what they paid, they'll sell him because he wants to leave. He doesn't like the way they play. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that sack Allegri and bring in a manager who's better. That's a much better option for them. Because what they'll end up doing, Olu, is they sell their players that want to leave because they're unhappy, and then they sack the manager anyway, and then they've sold all these assets. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it being plausible or possible right now. Come on, people. Do you really think that United need a superstar? Toney all the way is what Cedric believes here. Yeah, there we go. Terry, I don't understand the logic you use to say that Osimhen is not clear of Toney. He's doing it in the Champions League. And I watched Serie A. He's got pace, fast, positional awareness. One thing I do agree is the price-wise, it would make sense to go for Toney, as Osimhen would be costly. So he can do a job. If you did watch the Liverpool game, you would see, yeah, look, he is, but then I don't think Osimhen's touch is as good. I don't think he can pass the ball as well. So there are elements of Toney that are ahead of him, but Toney's strong, Toney's quick, Toney can finish, and um, I don't think it's wrong to say Osimhen is better than Toney, but clear and better are two different. Clear, Haaland is clear of Toney. That's what I consider clear to be. Messi is clear of Marcus Rashford. Mbappe is clear of Luis Diaz, right? So that's what I consider clear to be. So I'm giving you my logic here. Osimhen is not clear of Toney. The difference between the two isn't chalk and cheese, in my opinion. So that's my logic. So if I explain the logic to you, that is what I would go with, my friend. Do you know what I mean? Terry, in your opinion, is Toney the right kind of player to take back, get you back towards winning the league? That's a really good question, Chris. And, I believe he could be part of it. So again, I don't really believe in this notion of one player completely fixes you. So sometimes a player can come in and it can look like the final piece of a jigsaw, but it's just the final piece of a jigsaw. If you put that final piece of the jigsaw in, but then remove two other pieces, they're no longer the final piece, right? You need everybody. I think a player like Toney could be brilliant for Man United in the first team. It could be great as a backup option. It could be great within a versatile team that has to rotate. And you kind of see that with, Man United have won multiple titles in the past with having the versatile strikers. I think sometimes having like for like. So if you had, if every player is an attacker like Rashford, yes, you can bring somebody off the bench who might perform better on the day doing that particular role, but you can't change it up. And we've already seen with Erik ten Hag, he has the ability as a manager to change things depending upon the opponents he's against. To be able to take that to its nth degree, you need versatility within your squad. And I think Ivan Toney gives that to Manchester United. So could he be the reason why we win a league title? Not right now. If you put Toney into this team right now, would we go on to win the league? No, more is needed. But you add more quality in defense, a better goalie, a world-class midfielder, and then you put a Toney in the team that can score goals, of course he could help. No doubt in my mind. No doubt at all. Tammy or Toney? I'd go with Ivan Toney over Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham is doing brilliantly in Serie A, there's no doubt, but I would pick Toney over Tammy Abraham, especially to play in the Premier League, in my opinion. Diaz is a baller now. Yeah, Diaz is a baller, but Mbappe's clear of him. I don't think they're not on the same planet. That's what clear means for me. Clear is there's no talk. Wayne Rooney is clear of Danny Welbeck. So based on that logic, Osimhen is not clear of Toney. I think they're like this. Personally, neck and neck. Super chat came through here. This is Terry. The striker market is dead. For me, it's João Felix or Toney. Yeah, I like João Felix. João Felix is very expensive, though. Very, very expensive indeed. And it's hard to get. So he's not unattainable. He's just very expensive. And I kind of feel like this is where you also got to be clever. United don't have the money to go out and out and buy João Felix. They've got so many other areas they need to get. So 35, 40, maybe 50 million pound on Toney is brilliant value for money. Brilliant value for money. And again, look, Christian Eriksen was looked at as a over the hill freebie. Look how good he's been for Man United so far in that central midfield role. It doesn't have to be the superstar that can move that needle for you all the time. Welbeck and Rooney in the same sentence is crazy. Rooney is a legend. Yep. That comment's weird. Did you hear the sentence? Rooney is clear of Welbeck. How is that disrespectful? I'm making a point, my friend, that I'm not even going to explain myself because everyone knows exactly what I meant by that. That's one of the weirdest comments of the day. I'm going to start doing a thing monthly where we post up all the weirdest comments during shows. That's one of the weirdest ones for me that we've seen so far today. Diaz is on the same planet as Mbappe. If Liverpool and PSG were to face each other, please don't be surprised if he has a better game than Mbappe. Mbappe is better than Diaz, but not clear. What? Mbappe's not clear of Luis Diaz? How? On what planet is that correct? On what planet is that correct? They are. I want to go and check something. I want to go and check something real quick, right? How many goals? Just goals. I just want to look at just goals for a minute. Mbappe scored 10 goals this season. Like, come on. Like, Mbappe's got 212 goals in 197 appearances. Okay. So you can argue that on ability, they're both similar to each other, but I disagree because if you've got the same ability, the same attributes as Mbappe, then you would score, assist, create, and be as consistent as him. You can't have the same ability as him and not be performing like him. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Nah, I think Luis Diaz is a very good player, but Mbappe is world class and Luis Diaz is not. Sign a player that fits the system, not just any superstar player, i.e., Di Maria. Mate, that's it. That's where you are spot on. Yeah, people don't listen. People don't listen. They don't. They don't. Big up. Would you say RB right back is a priority next year? I think right back could be. Look, Delo's been pretty good since he's come in. Like he's been good, but I still think Man United need to move the needle there. They need to look at something different. They need to improve that area. Without a shadow of a doubt, they really do need to look to improve it. There we go. But yeah, Mbappe, yeah, you guys are cooking this guy. Diaz is very good, but to say that he is like close to Mbappe is crazy. Is just crazy. Um, I think you can make an argument. I mean, I would say, I bet if you did a comparison, I'll do the comparison now. I bet dribbling wise, they complete similar levels of dribbles and things like that. Dribbling, you could probably say they're close. Probably say they're close. Um, you know, their passing range is probably similar. There's probably some areas that you can look at as close, but I don't know. Outside of that, I don't know. Why can't I find Luis Diaz? Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is. There he is. I assume this is Liverpool's Luis Diaz. I want to. No, wrong guy. Sometimes on Squawka, when you're trying to find a certain player, they're almost impossible to find. Is it Diaz with a Z? It is, right? Yeah. Why can't I find him? Like they should just make it so they put the. Because what's his actual name though? Because sometimes on Squawka they use someone's like actual name as opposed to the name that we all call them. Does that make sense? They sometimes use it like Luis Fernandez Diaz. I can't even pronounce his surname. Yeah, they have to sometimes have to copy and paste and put the whole bloody name in. It's like so annoying. Yeah, there he is. So I found him now. So I just want to look at. I'll edit the stats on this. I'm going to put this up here. I just want to put it on Jules, right? So like take-ons completed. Yeah, I thought that would be that would be pretty similar. So like this season per 90 minutes, like Luis Diaz completes 2.4 dribbles per game, and Mbappe's at like 2.4. But let's actually do some of the breakdowns, just the stats here. Like, I'm going to throw these things in here. Goals inside and outside the box, headed goals, conversion rates. Just to put some passing in here, chances created, assists, passing accuracy. I'm even going to put like crossing accuracy in, and they're different types of players. But I'm just going to have a little look and have a little look and see what comes out on top. I mean, yeah, like Mbappe's just ahead of him in like every single area, barring take-ons and headed goals. But like conversion rate's pretty similar, to be fair. But chance created, Mbappe's in front of him. Pass completion is better. Passing accuracy is better. Crossing accuracy of Mbappe is double the crossing accuracy of Luis Diaz as an example. And then you've got the efficiency of goals. You know, the amount of goals that he scores per 90 minutes is more than double that of Luis Diaz. And scoring goals is one of the hardest things to do in football. So when your goal ratio is twice as good as someone, so when you're twice as good at doing the hardest thing in football, which is scoring goals, you're clear of someone, in my opinion. I never really thought about that before, but yeah, I didn't need to prove it, but I just wanted to take a look. To be fair, plus you've got speed. Like speed is an attribute. It is an attribute. So look, Luis Diaz is good, but in my opinion, I don't think he is on. I don't even think he's on the same planet as Mbappe personally. And I'm just looking at in the last 3 seasons. I'm just checking the last 3 seasons because that's all I can be bothered to go back and check. But in the last 3 seasons, even when I check what he was doing in Portugal, like Mbappe's goals have been more than double of him. 2 seasons ago, when he was in Porto, in an easier league, Mbappe was scoring at 3 times the rate. So imagine being 3 times as efficient at the hardest skill in football, scoring goals. Clear, brother. Clear. And Luis Diaz is not a goal getter like Mbappe. He's more like a winger. Yeah, I get that, my bro. But goal scoring is the hardest thing to do in football. And if you're anywhere between 2 to 3 times better than someone that's like, we're going by that guy's message, that the guy's comment that was they are close to each other. For me, they're not close. But it doesn't mean Luis Diaz is a bad player. He's brilliant, but they ain't close. A high ability afternoon. Now, speaking of top players, I wanted to speak about the Haaland situation because I've seen too much disrespect on Haaland in the last few days. The cognitive dissonance has astounded me to epic levels. No cap here, no nonsense. I'm talking legitimately astounded me. So I released a clip really from my show the other night where we speak about Haaland being the best young finisher since R9. And straight away you get, how's he as good as R9? Firstly, best finisher since, okay, young finisher since. So we're talking about him at 22. No one's been he's the best since R9. Didn't say better, firstly. Then I get in the comments, how is he a better footballer than Harry Kane? Didn't say he was a better overall footballer. I said best young finisher since him. At the age of 22, when you compare what Haaland has achieved in his career at 22 compared to Harry Kane at 22, he is clear of him. The outrage people are feeling over this is mind-boggling. At 22 years of age, and I'm gonna get the stats here. I want to make this I want to get this as accurate as possible. So I did the research yesterday. At 22 years of age, and I think they're both born in July, so it makes it very easy to compare there isn't like a 6-month, 9-month gap where one plays a season at a certain age longer. They're both born in July. It makes it really easy to do. At 22 years of age, Haaland has 2 league titles, 2 domestic cups, 168 goals, and 26 Champions League goals. At 22 years of age, Harry Kane had no trophies, no league titles, no cups, 80 goals, and hadn't even played a Champions League game yet. At 22 years of age, Haaland is clear of Harry Kane. In terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, at 22 years of age, Haaland is a better finisher than a 22-year-old Ronaldo was. He's actually a better finisher than a 22-year-old Messi was. Now, it was around 22 that Messi and Ronaldo then went to another level with scoring goals. Let me reiterate before anybody cries. Haaland will never be as good a footballer as Messi and Ronaldo. They are clear of him, I think, forever in terms of overall footballing ability. But he is an out-and-out goal scorer. And I am purely talking about his goal-scoring prowess, his scoring ability. He is one of the greatest we have ever seen at 22 years of age. He is the greatest we've ever seen at 22 years of age, in my opinion, in the Premier League era at 22. Better than any other finisher at this age that we have ever had in the Premier League. No player has ever been this good at finishing at 22 in the Premier League. His record is beyond belief. And I find it really disconcerting that people keep twisting the narrative to like slag him off. It's actually like painful as a football fan to listen to. Oh, but he's not as good a footballer as Thierry Henry. No one's saying that he is. Henry will always be clear of him with overall footballing ability, of course. But we're talking about this guy's ability to finish. This guy's ability to finish and find space. Some of these quote unquote tap-ins that he gets are not tap-ins. The goal he scored against Dortmund the other night, I honestly don't think very many footballers in the last 30 years of football could score that goal. And he's already scored 2 like it this season. He is absolutely phenomenal. Listen, do you want to know why he's clear of Michael Owen? Show me how many Champions League goals Michael Owen had at 22. How many did he have? Did he have 26 Champions League goals in 21 Champions League appearances by the time he was 22? You know, I honestly think Michael Owen was sensational. But it's ever just Michael Owen only scored. This is the fact about Michael. I swear Michael Owen only ever hit 20 league goals once. Like, I swear that's the truth. Let me go and check here with Michael Owen. It's a really good point you've raised. Michael Owen was phenomenal. But let's go and look at Michael Owen here. Yeah, Michael Owen. And Michael Owen never did it. Michael Owen never scored 20 league goals in one season. And when was he? Let me just go back and let's check Michael Owen. Just do some of these players while we're live, right? And these players are brilliant, but I'm not saying they're crap. Michael Owen's 42, so it's very easy. 20 years ago, he was 22. So 20 years ago would have been 2002, right? So let's go back to 2002 and go backwards, and we'll add up his goal. Just his goals. We're looking at finishing only here, right? So in that season there, cool. Right, so 28 plus 24 plus 12 plus 23 plus 23 plus 1. So Michael Owen had 111 goals at this same age, okay? I don't know how many Champions League goals he had, but he only scored 21 goals in 49 complete appearances in Europe, and that includes UEFA Cup games for Liverpool. So you've got to think, Haaland has, I mean, let me just do this here. European goals in total. Michael Owen only has 26 European goals in his whole career, and Haaland has that many at 21, all in the Champions League. He's clear of him. Like, he legitimately is. And I'm just saying now, like, Michael Owen was sensational, but this is unprecedented in our times. Unprecedented in our times. Robbie Fowler was another very good young finisher. Let's go back and look. I think Robbie Fowler might have actually scored more goals in his younger years than Michael Owen did. That's just a pure guess. But let's go and have a little look here and actually see. So he's 47. So it makes it, what's that, 15 years ago? Sorry, 25 years ago, he was that age. I've got to go back 25 bloody years now. This is going to be hard. When was 25 years? That would be 1997, right? So let's go back to wow, it started well, though. He's pretty close, to be fair. But let's go back and have a little look here. And do 31 plus 36 plus 31. Wow. What a start to his career. 116 goals. So as good as Robbie Fowler was. 116 goals at that age. But again, we start looking at this. Robbie Fowler's entire European career, he only scored 15 European goals. And this is what I'm saying about Haaland. There'll be some people close on league goals. There'll be some that he's, got all these champions. This guy's doing everything. The guy also internationally, right? Robbie Fowler, in his international career, got 7 goals in his whole international career. Michael Owen, in his whole international career, Michael Owen is a pretty good international goal scorer, to be fair, scored 40 goals. Haaland, I believe, and I haven't even thought about his international record. Remember, this guy's playing for Norway as well, you know. His international record currently is 20 international goals in 21 games. It's just abnormal. It's abnormal. It's abnormal. You know? 20 international goals in 21 international appearances. Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, phenomenal. This guy's clear. And that's why I'm offended. I'm offended as a football fan that people, they're trying to take away from him. No, but he can't dribble like Mbappe, so I don't rate him. Then you're an idiot. No way, he's nowhere near Harry Kane. At 22 years of age, he's already surpassed the entire career of Harry Kane. If we're talking trophies, he's won 2 league titles and 2 domestic cups. Now, you can argue that some of them are in Austria. Cool. He's won the FA Cup or the Pokal in Germany, which is more than Harry Kane's won. But at 22 years of age, he's done more than Harry Kane. Harry Kane's a better football player than him. But if he keeps scoring like this, Haaland, he'll break records that Harry Kane has already got. He'll win more trophies than Harry Kane. And when he finishes his career with multiple league titles, multiple domestic cups, champions, this guy is going to win a Champions League, in my opinion. The only thing he'll probably never win is an international trophy, but because he's Norwegian, you know, and being Norwegian, he's very unlikely to achieve anything. If this guy was English, this guy was French. Well, not even if he was English, we probably don't win it either. But if he was French or Spanish or Brazilian or German, he'd probably go on to win a Euros or a World Cup at some point in his career. He's going to surpass most of these guys. And we just look at strikers instead of overall footballers. He is going to have a better career, in my opinion, than 90% of all strikers ever in the history of European football. Barring injury, he's going to score more than most, and he's going to win as much if not more than most. Collectively, as a finisher, we are looking at an absolute god of the game in the making. And the way people are disrespecting it, and I know why they're doing it, it's to kind of protect their own legends. And Spurs fans are the biggest ones now. They're on Haaland. They're looking for any reason to discredit him because they feel threatened. And it's upsetting as a football fan to see. If Haaland scores at this rate, he will be the fastest to 50 Champions League goals by 22 games. Well, he can't. Well, more respect needs to be put on his name. If he keeps scoring at this rate, he could score over 70 goals this one season, and that will fall off a little bit. I think his goal scoring rate will tail off in the season. But I still think he'll score over 50 goals in all comps this year. Remember, I think Ronaldo and Mo Salah both scored 44 goals in a season in all comps. I know Salah got 44. Ronaldo, I'm going to check what Ronaldo's was when he was at Man United as well. I want to get that right. I want to say 44. It might have been 42. It might have been 42. It was 42. So Ronaldo got 42. Mo Salah got 44. I think this guy's going to break that record. So in this season, I believe he'll score more goals in a single season in all comps than any footballer has done in the Premier League era. And I've got to go back and look at the stats. Has any footballer ever scored more than 50 goals at top flight football and English football across all comps? I don't know. Jimmy Greaves might have done. I've got to go back and check it. But this guy, it's unprecedented in our times what he's doing. As good as Harry Kane is as a finisher, this guy's better. At 22 years of age, he's better. He's better. Just is. As an overall footballer, Harry Kane's got it. But as a finisher, hands down. It's a new era. People don't want to see new legends. This is true. I think it's a really fair point. Hi, Terry. I think the level of quality generally in football has dropped significantly compared to the 90s. Do you agree? Milan, 90, Ajax, 95, United, 99. I think football has changed. I think it's far more about systems now than it is individual quality of footballers. And that's why these systems have yielded these crazy points totals. Teams are like machines now. And I think because these teams are like machines, you see sometimes less individual. You still see individual brilliance, but the system overrides the individual brilliance. It's more prevalent, I feel. So you're not seeing it. I do miss the 90s and the noughties where it was kind of like there was a system and there was a team approach, but there was more freedom of expression from players. Defending definitely isn't as good now. Across the board, I don't think there's as many world-class centre-backs in the world right now as there used to be. But then I think it's because football's also changed. Like a lot of these old school world-class centre-backs, the game was more physical. The way you could tackle was changed. Like tackling now is almost impossible. You can get sent off now for winning the ball and then your trailing leg catches someone. So players go to ground less. Yeah, I feel like there are differences. But then is it harder to defend now because of those reasons? And players are far more fitter, far quicker now. The balls are lighter. The boots now don't weigh anything. The players can run, turn, twist quicker. So there's been so many variables and changes in football. Maybe it makes it harder to defend like a Toney Adams. If you put Toney Adams in this era with the rules in the game now, that the way the pitches are, the way the balls are, the way the boots are, would he be as good? Probably not. Probably not. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one to me. Someone here says semantics. I don't know what you mean by that. Please explain what you mean. In 1927-28 season, 21-year-old William Dixie Dean scored a record-breaking 60 goals for Everton in just 39 games. Wow, that's amazing. And do you know what? There were players from that era that did that. That's why I tend to keep it to the Prem era because I just don't have any real knowledge of that without going back. I don't remember it. So I kind of talk Prem era. It's unprecedented now times, as I say, and have been great players in the past. Dixie Dean's one of them. That's crazy. Yeah, he's not going to score 60 or goals against those teams. I mean, some players in that era were like banging crazy records in. No doubt. A shortage of world-class strikers as well. But I think we're about to move back into the era of number 9s again, though. Do you remember, like I said, I could also, there's a lack of world-class number 10s now. When 10 years ago, there was an abundance, and there's like swings and roundabouts with particular players. Feels like there's a lack of fullbacks at the minute that can actually defend. Yeah. Haaland has more goals than Rooney at this stage, but I would still say Rooney is a better finisher. It just didn't play out as a striker. Man, that's an opinion. I don't think I think Haaland's a better finisher and a better goal scorer than Wayne Rooney was, but Wayne Rooney was a better football player overall. You know, Haaland couldn't play at 10. He couldn't play on the wing. He couldn't become a midfielder. So there, again, it's if someone said to me right now, is Haaland better than Rooney as a footballer? I'd say no. But is he a better striker than Ruud van Nistelrooy? Yes. Is a better finisher than Ruud van Nistelrooy? Yes. Is he a better footballer than Harry Kane? No. At 22, is he a better finisher than Harry Kane was? Absolutely. He was. Harry Kane, though, improved massively. Like, the one thing I'd say about Haaland needs to maintain this and go to another level. And he can. But the only thing that stops Haaland is himself in terms of stop trying. If he stops trying, stops working hard, or if he gets bad injuries. That's the only things that stop him. But listen, and you're entitled to that opinion. The thing with Rooney is, if Rooney was able to score like Haaland, Fergie would have utilized him in that position. Rooney, for me, is if Rooney was playing now, he'd be, again, for me, he was always a secondary striker. He could play number 9, and he did it well. But Rooney being the Rooney playing with a Haaland, that is what I'd like to see. You know, I can't feel like peak Rooney with Van Nistelrooy, with peak Rooney with an RVP. That I wish we got to see more of. You know, under Fergie, I'd love to see that for a few more years. I think if you'd have kept Rooney happy, I think if Fergie would have stayed on for a couple more seasons, and if we'd have improved the midfield and the defense, and you could have kept Van Persie and Rooney for a couple more years, those two would have created and scored Man United to winning many more trophies, in my opinion. Many more trophies. I do believe that would have happened. But see, Rooney and Fergie weren't even getting on. If you actually look back at it in that season, Rooney was being dropped and moved out. But I still think I didn't feel like he had that bad of a season. But obviously things were coming to an end. I'd like to have seen Rooney maybe a couple of years younger, with Van Persie for a few more years as that kind of second striker role. I really liked him playing that role. I mean, he didn't even have a bad year, though. We didn't look at this back then. He only played 37 games in all comps that season, Wayne Rooney, with Van Persie was here. 37 games. He got 30 GA. Like, this guy, we didn't talk GA back then because the information wasn't readily available. He still had a decent season. The year after, I actually think he did quite well in the Moyes season, you know, GA-wise, Rooney. I swear he did. People forget this about Rooney because they only ever looked at, this was the mad thing with Rooney. He was only ever looked at for his goals. The Moyes season, Rooney had played 40 games. He scored 19 goals and got 22 assists. It's crazy, actually, when you look back at it. It's crazy when you actually go back and look. Like, Rooney contributed so much, but we just never focused on those things. You know, I remember the season we won the Champions League, Premier League double. Oh, yeah, he scored 18 goals, but he also created 14 goals. But this guy, again, like 43 games he played that season, and he got like 33 GA. Like, this guy was so consistent as a creator and a goal scorer. You know, he really, really was just a sensational football player. What was the season after Ronaldo left where he scored all them goals? I want to go to his first big goal scoring season. Yeah, that year where he scored 34 goals. He got less assists that year because his role slightly changed, but he still got 7 assists. So he played 44 games that season and he got 41 GA. It's just crazy, the levels of that guy. But there we go. Rooney could have been even better if it was like, Rooney's decline. You sort of learn things about him now if you watch his documentary. I don't think his diet was the best. He used to drink. He used to smoke. I don't think he kept himself fit enough outside of football. And I wish he had have done, because I think as you get into your late 20s, early 30s, that's when it like in all sports, that's when it catches up with you. And I really like, what's his name right now? It comes to mind because he's a Scouser, Paddy Pimblett. I really like him as a fighter. But I worry about him because of the weight he puts on outside. Now, I know he actually he kind of scoffs back at people and says, I'm fine. I think in another 3 or 4 years' time, I just worry that it comes back to haunt him like it did Ricky Hatton, if that makes sense. Haaland is a modern-day Rude, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that's right. Rooney 2009 to 2011 was the best. Yeah, he was. And, you know, he was so good in that period. I just think Rooney from like 04 to then, like, just that period he was such a good football player. He really, really was such a good football player. It was unbelievable how good he was. Plus, he also it wasn't just the goals and the assists and it was the and this is one of the things I was saying yesterday. I got into a bit of a Twitter debate with some guys. Like Fuad's a great guy. I like Fuad a lot. He's really cool. But I kind of it's why I push back on Harry Kane being anywhere near the GOAT conversation. We're going to kind of bring that up tonight on the top 6 show and save it for them. But it can't be a GOAT yet, regardless of the goal scoring record, because what's Harry Kane done in those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pressured seasons when they're in title races, when they're one of the favourites to win the Champions League, when they're expected to win every match? How did he perform in those seasons? And not pressure from just your own fans, pressure from the world. The answer is we don't know because he's never been there. And how you handle those situations is what separates the brilliant football players from the world-class legends. I think discounting clutch games, clutch moments, title-winning performances, Champions League winning performances is disrespectful to football. And we'll touch more on that on Top 6 show at 6 p.m. tonight. Everyone that's tuned in, I really do appreciate your support on the terrace. Please smash that like button before you leave. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.